everyone, welcome back to Dark Feminine Consciousness. I am Tifara. Today I'm gonna share with you a little bit about what I believe. People always ask me, what do you believe in? What is your spiritual system? Do you believe in a God? And I will share it, but I first want to know if it is not more important to see the way I live instead of knowing what I believe. I think it's more important to see the way people live, how they are a reflection of their own words, and if they're living a righteous life, than to know what they believe in. Because anybody can tell you anything. People can tell you that they're Christian, people can tell you that they're Muslim, they can tell you anything. What does it mean anyway? Because it's just words. Personally, I don't really like labels, and that's because I see myself as ever evolving. I'm definitely not Christian, though I grew up Christian. I don't believe in the Christian doctrine. I don't attach myself to any religious system or any particular spiritual system. There are some that I appreciate. And even in Christianity, there are things that I appreciate about it. And I tell my brother all the time, and I think he knows that there are lots of things that we can find similar in each other. He goes to Gino Jennings church, and they're a little bit more radical than most of the Christian churches. So there are some things that I do relate to them on. It might not be for the same reasons, but I do appreciate some of the things that they do. Speaking of which, I went to his church recently. They had a convention and he invited me, and I decided to go. Something that most Christians could never do. They could never find themselves in another place where they're open to seeing how other people practice spirituality. I have no problem with people who see things different from me, because you never know, you might be able to learn something from them and they can learn something from you. We can't be so closed off and in a box. But anyway, the experience was interesting. I didn't really stay for all of the sermon, but I do remember the first parts of it. They had a 30-minute period of just prayer before they started, and it just felt very sad to me, because I could literally see sadness and struggle and grief all around me for 30 minutes. That's what I heard, that's what I felt. Just grief, just struggle, just hardship, just wailing and weeping for 30 minutes. Here are these African people find themselves in a foreign place with a foreign doctrine, praying to this entity, and it just sounds like a lot of begging and wailing and weeping to me, and I just feel sorry for us. That is where we are. I don't hear in their prayer any affirmations, any intention. After they did the prayer, they went on to a praise and worship period, I suppose, where they sing songs. When they got to the second one, I turned to the lady beside me. I said, "What was the name of the first song that you sang?" She looked at me blank. She didn't have a clue what the first song was. She didn't remember. She didn't remember the song. She didn't remember the melody. She didn't remember the words. She didn't remember anything. She couldn't tell me the song that they sang. And I said, "You don't really, it was a song just before this one. You don't remember?" No. So I said, "Okay, let me turn to the lady to my left." I asked her, it was the same response. I asked the lady who was sitting in front of me. She said the same thing. She don't remember. I asked the lady behind me. She didn't remember either. I was like, wow, that is what happens when you're doing something without purpose and intention. You don't know what you're doing. You don't remember what you're doing. You don't remember what you said. It's just repeating. It's programming. You're just repeating a song, you're just singing because this is a space for singing songs and you sing along. But it really doesn't have any weight. It has nothing behind it. It's completely empty. I find that this is common amongst most Christians. They don't know what they're doing or why they're doing it. But anyway, this is not a video to bash Christians. I'm just making the point that I have to feel connection to what I'm doing. I have to feel deeply about what I'm doing, especially spiritually. I don't like to be tied down to any particular group or organization. I just like to express my spirituality how I want to, because as I always say, spirituality is an individual thing, so it is my experience and how I want to express it and what comes out of me. So it is me looking within myself with all of the information that I have and all that is around me, processing it within me and coming up with my own conclusions about my reason for being here and what it will add to my soul after I move on from this dimension. I do find, some connection to African spirituality because I am African. So I do search to find things that I can relate to in African culture. One system that I really find relatable is the Indian spiritual system. I don't even know if it's really a spiritual system, it's just like a way of life. Their philosophies have a lot to do with how to be a balanced human being, how to live in this space and be balanced within your body, balanced emotionally, balanced spiritually. All of those things are important. I also, of course, relate to Rastafari because one, Rastafari comes from my culture and I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of that part of my culture because it is born out of black liberation, blacks wanting to liberate themselves from a system of oppression. It is all encompassing. It covers spirituality, culture, politics, geography, self-knowledge and self-worth and history and ancestors, how you eat and how you connect with nature. And that's very important to me because I feel like that is the most important part of your spirituality, is knowing your connection and knowing your part within this space that we live in and connecting to everything that is here. The illusion is separation. Everything is connected. We're not really taking the time to connect, but you don't need to go to nature because you are a part of nature. You are nature. One of the main reasons why I'm proud of Rastafari is because of the message and how far-reaching the message has been. And this is coming from a group of black people in a small island in the Caribbean that has touched every corner of this earth. No other religious group, no other spiritual system, no music genre has ever done that. And Rastafari has done that through reggae, yes, through Bob Marley, through One Love. Because if you go to any corner of the earth and ask someone, do you know Bob Marley? They may say yes, they may say no, but if you start singing One Love, they're gonna finish the lyrics for sure. And just the message of One Love, also message of oneness, that message of interconnectedness. But I also love Rastafari because it teaches about taking care of yourself through food and how food is important in who you are physically, who you are spiritually, who you are mentally. Food is very important. You are what you eat. I also love that the deity or the man who they deify is a black man. I love that. Through Rastafari there are different sects and so they all believe different things. Some deify him, some don't. Some see him as a great prophet, some see him as God, some see him as the second return of Christ. I do revere Haile Selassie, one as an ancestor, as I do all my ancestors. And all my ancestors, black people who came before me, who were very influential, and left a mark on this world and left a legacy for me to follow. And so I'm proud of the legacy of Haile Selassie. I think that in this world you have different types of people, and people come here with different gifts. And I do believe that Haile Selassie was different. I mean, that's why people think Jesus Christ was God. If he actually existed, I don't know. But what I know is that he was probably Christ-like. There is something about him that made him stand out from everybody else. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why people deify people, because they're different, they do things different, their message is different, they teach different, they have a lot of knowledge to share, they know a lot. If you've ever read The Wise Mind of Haile Selassie, you'll get a basic understanding of how his mind worked. He was definitely not an average being, but he was a black king, he's a black emperor, so that is significant to me, and I will never overlook that. My spiritual system is just, as I said, I live and respect nature. I take all of my cues from nature. I study nature. I study the plants, I study the animals, particularly animals. I always tell my father that animals are our teachers. Of course, he believes something different because the Bible tells them that the animals are inferior and we're superior to them. I don't believe in that. I believe in oneness and equalness, and every part of this ecosystem is equally important. One thing about the animals is that you can learn a lot from them. Mfundishi calls it something else. If I remember the word, I'll put it up there. But basically what it is studying the animals, seeing how they act, because all animals are different and how they function is different and their purpose is different. And there is always some principle that you can learn from them. He loves to give examples of the vulture. People don't really see vultures as, is a jonker. People don't really see jonkers as something that you can learn something from. But vultures are animals that are very nurturing, and they serve a good purpose on earth here, because if we didn't have vultures, we'd probably have a lot of disease around. You'd probably see a lot of dead animals around, because who would clean them up? There's a purpose for everything in the ecosystem. Lions are probably one of the most admired animals there is, because they're brave, they're alphas. Everybody wants to be like lions. One thing that stands out about lions also is that they move in packs. They're a family, and so they work together. They help each other. They're always about their pride. You can always learn so much from nature. I observe animals all the time, animals and insects, everything, and I learn something. The ants you can learn from, the bees you can learn something from. There's something from all animals that you can apply to your life in some way. I don't want to sound cliche, but similar to Ziggy Marley, love is my religion. There's a reason that so many artists sing about love. Alright, let me wrap this up really quickly because the camera is failing me right now, so I'm using my phone. But anyway, the last thing I was gonna say is that love is the highest frequency that there is. Midnight has a song called The Portals, and in it he says endorphins are the entrance to the portals. I thought about it and I said, but when are endorphins released? Usually when we're happy, and we're usually very happy when we're feeling a lot of love, especially when we're in love. We feel so powerful, We can do almost anything. We can transcend anything. I think it's the same energy he's talking about when endorphins are released. Think about when you're happy. When you're happy, you feel like you have superpowers. You can do anything. It's like you're floating on air, you're walking on air, and so everything that is happening around you and before you is just magical. Everything feels connected, everything feels right. Whatever you put your hands into is just gold, it's just magic. And usually it's when you're tapping into the love frequency that these things happen. But they do, society and the powers that be always try to keep us in a lower vibration, always try to keep us out of the love frequency, because the love frequency is where our power is. When we stay on that frequency all the time, we're unfuckable, and so they want to keep us out of that frequency where we're sad, we're angry, we're depressed, we're feeling all kinds of negative emotions all the time, just low vibration stuff. They always keep us distracted with low vibrational stuff as well. In the news, in the culture, it's all types of low vibration stuff. Nothing that is going to raise your frequency and keep you, in that low vibration, that where you have the power, where you have the energy to do whatever it is that you want to do and accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, get whatever you want to get, and to be happy, ultimately to be happy. And when you are happy, there is really nothing else that you need in this world. And if you're unhappy, you are always looking for happiness, and you're always looking outside of self for happiness. If you're always looking outside for happiness, you will never be content. You will always be looking for happiness in material things, in other people, in situations, in events, in places, and never within self. I would say that love is my religion. Love is my spirituality. Love is what I'm always aspiring to. That's the frequency I always want to get on, because that's where my power is. Alright, so I hope that answers your question. I didn't really write down anything today, as again, I think I'm just going with this flow of whatever downloads I'm getting. I just share them instead of writing things down. Yes, there's a place for that, and I will always do that, but sometimes I just want to share what's on my mind randomly. So anyway, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, and please like, because it helps with algorithm. And I mean, when I say it helps with algorithm, I don't know if some of you understand, is that when you like it, other people get to see it. When you share it, other people get to see it, and the algorithm says, okay, other people are interested in this, maybe we should make it available so other people can see. It helps when you do that. So please, if you like the content, please do me a favor and just give it a like. It's getting dark. Take care of yourself, and we'll link up in the next video. Alright, bye.